Alright, so a lot of people have trouble with decrees on Queen Azshara. So I'm making this video partially for my raid team and partially just for anybody who needs help with them. There are weak auras and everything like that, but how you actually handle them is still an individual responsibility. So we're going to be going over all of them and good ways to use them. And we're going to start off with the solo decree just by itself. So first here we're still on this ad. I get solo. All you got to do is move away from people. Be by yourself. At this point I could have just taken my hands off the keyboard and been done. You can also use this time as your benefit to observe what other people are doing around you. In case you wipe, you can advise them to do better on X, Y, Z on the next pull. Here we have solo soak. All that means you just soak an orb by yourself. So you just run to an orb, claim it, and that's it. And as you soak enough of the orb, the obey debuff goes away and you're just left with the solo. So you still want to be away from people, but your soaking is already done, and that's how you take care of that one. Solo and don't soak pretty much works the same way as don't soak or solo, kind of because they're just combined. But in this instance, I just run over here. I'm by myself. I'm not soaking an orb. The reason I'm over here by myself, by the way, is I align myself with this purple goo because that'll kind of double down on making sure people don't come toward me and give me sanction stacks. So it's kind of like a barrier, prevent other people from giving me stacks, essentially. This one is solo and move. Now, if you ever get the move decree, you will always have solo. So all you do with this one, you just run it out to an edge preferably, and you just move around. Don't stop moving, but don't run over anybody else, because that'll give you sanction stacks because you're supposed to be solo, and that's all there is to it. But with move, this is the only combination you'll ever see of this. You won't get move or group, move or soak, any of that kind of stuff. Then for the last solo, we have solo and stay. This one can get you stacks out of your control. But basically, you end up with this purple bounding box ring type thing. And for stay, you just need to stay within your own personal circle. And if you're solo, along with that, you need to be away from the other people who got stay. So in this clip, what we see is I move to the edge of my bounding circle here, away from these other people with stay, and we'll get into the group stay in a minute here, but they're all away from me. I'm not getting any sanction stacks, just staying in my little circle by myself. This one is just stay by itself, to give you a more broad overhead. So you just stay within your circle once again, and since the only thing you have is stay, that does not forbid you from helping this guy have a group mate to soak his orb. Being in his group circle will not cause him to get sanction stacks, because all he needs is a person. You don't have to have two group people together, which we'll get into now. This is group stay. I probably gave this guy some stacks, but it was a little bit cluttered. Like I said, this one will probably give you the most. So I ended up getting away from him, still within my bounding circle, and with these guys over here. So that, counters my group debuff. I'm not getting stacks from that. I'm helping them with the same thing. I'm staying within my circle. Come out 0 stacks. But you do want to move away from the person with solo stay. Now we get into group soak. All you got to do here is pretty much what it says. Just go to an orb, make sure you have other people with you, soak it up, and that's it. You can help other people with their, purple group soak things, as long as you stay away from this solo person right here. Don't want to give them stacks. And the important thing to know with the soak debuff itself, or the obey, as it's technically called, as soon as you have enough like soak damage taken, that debuff will go away up in this debuff section here. So all I have left is the group up. At that point, I just need to be with another person. This one is kind of like that. It's group just by itself. I don't have any other decrees here. We end up wiping on this pull because of an unsoaked orb. I try to help them, but they got it covered, so I go over to this guy who has help stay. This prevents him from getting any stacks because he has a person that's partnered with him or grouped with him, and he's also doing good. He's staying within his bounding circle, so he's doing it properly. He waited. I did my job properly. I went over to him. Now there's an orb on the boss. Any of these people could have taken this. Since it was kind of obscured behind a pillar, some people might not have seen it, whatever. But these people are right there. They can see it. You can see he's in a bounding circle, so there's nothing forbidding him from soaking. He's just solo. So as long as you don't have this debuff, which is the avoid orb, you can pretty much do anything. Like with this one, I just went over and I just soaked a ward, because why not? You charge it up a little bit, less you have to charge it later, and you're not soaking anything anyway. So just get out of the fray, get away from the confusion. Or you can also, in that situation, stand with these guys, like a help stay. You can go stand with him. There's nothing saying you can't, and it won't give either one of you stacks. And this debuff is the only one, this no soak is the only debuff that would prevent you from soaking this orb. So in this situation, if anybody did not have this debuff, they could have soaked that and been totally fine, sanction free. And even if they did have it, they could just use a defensive and still be fine. And this is just an example of good usage of group by itself. So here, they're soaking an orb as a group, and I'm kind of helping them. This guy has helped stay, and I'm also linked with him. So I'm helping two separate groups with the stand together debuff. And this guy's doing what he's supposed to do. He's staying within his bounding circle, so he's not getting sanction stacks from that. And since someone's with him, he's not getting it from that either. It's also important to note the solo stay and the help stay, opposite sides of their bounding circles. So that's kind of just a little rundown tutorial of how these work. This used to be my least favorite fight because I thought it was overly complicated and for no real reason and just add confusion. But it's kind of become my favorite fight because of the same reason. Uh, it's only really confusing if you just don't understand how these things work. But at face value, they're extremely simple. Uh, it literally tells you what to do. Um, and if you have a debuff, as long as you're doing that correctly, you will not get sanction stacks. And if you don't have a debuff, say you have don't soak, you can still stand with people because there's nothing forbidding you from doing it. Uh, and if you have group and say there's an orb that's not being soaked, you can still go soak that orb. You'll probably get sanction stacks for not being grouped up, but you're going to prevent an orb from blowing up the raid. So that's just a little walkthrough on how they work. Neat little ways you can kind of make the best use out of them. So helping out two different groups here, just going and soaking a ward because why not? It's really all about just making the best use of what you have to further progress the raid, and that'll get you more consistently to the later stages. So hopefully this helped people, and thanks for watching.